Okay, I'm at 15560 Moyer Road in Germantown, Ohio, on a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We're basically looking for any structural issues in the line, anything that would be concerning to the buyer. Our access is in the basement. It's a hanging sewer. You can see it's going out through the wall there, and so we're going out through there, and it's on septic, so we'll be able to go all the way out to the tank. We'll try to run some water. We just want to make sure there's a little, looks like there's a belly. Yeah, it doesn't look like much you can see above it. And those little small bellies like that are not a big issue. A lot of times these septic lines are really flat like this because of the because of the way they're, how shallow they are. And so, a lot of times they'll settle a little bit when they're first put in, but especially with the with PVC, a little belly like that is not an issue, as long as it's not like really deep, like the whole, diameter of the pipe, especially in something like this where you have a lot of yep, there we are, all the way to the tank. But especially where it's PVC all the way to the tank, and these little PVC, it's really slick, and so as long as it's deeper on one end than the other, like the way it's supposed to, then it'll overtake that little bit of the belly without an issue. But a lot of times what happens is they put them in, and then it kind of beds, the bedding or whatever, below the pipe, and sink just a little bit, usually right after they're put in. And so that's where you'll have the little low spots and stuff. But as we pull back, hopefully we'll be able to see a little bit better as far as like how far. It looks like it's about 5 to 6 feet. And so it is a minor belly between 13 feet. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the camera back out. I'm going to put a little standoff on it, and we'll run it back through so we can get a better idea of how deep that belly actually is. Make sure it's not, it doesn't look like it's the full diameter of the pipe or anything, but we just want to make sure that it's not going to cause any future issues. Bellies are, just like you have a trap under your sink, or there's a trap built into your toilet. As long as the full downstream side is lower than the upstream side, it will overtake that. And with the septic tank especially, you're not going to be using any kind of wet wipes or anything like that to begin with. And so making sure that those solids, that you're not flushing anything down the line that you're not supposed to, which could block the line anyway. But as long as you're using it as designed, it won't be an issue. It'll overtake the belly relatively easy and make its way all the way out to the tank without a problem. But again, we're going to go ahead and get a standoff. I still will mark the belly, but just want to know it's not a major, catastrophic failure or anything. It's something that is pretty common, especially in these septic lines, just because they're so shallow. A lot of times they sink a little bit after use, and in a couple spots. And so as long as there's not like I said before, as long as the rest of the line is designed properly, it's not an issue. So I'm going to pause the video and change that out. Alright, so I've added the standoff to the camera. We've pushed back through. So hopefully it'll hold it up a little bit and be able to see a little bit better. But it was about 13 feet. Let's see, it's about half the diameter of the pipe. Also, I think I can put something on the front of the camera there. There we go. Well, the house has been sitting empty, so I don't know how long, but I'll go ahead and push a little bit of like grease chunks and stuff that are in there. All the way out to the tank. And so it's not obstructing flow at all, but I will go ahead and mark it for reference where the actually not bad at all, because this is where it starts. You can see, so I think there was just something that was sitting in there that was holding some water. You can see how the camera lens actually stays above it now, because I moved some of the solids that were in there, pushed them out of the way, so it probably dried out. A little bit of that stuff sat in there was holding a little bit of water because of the house being empty. So it's obviously a lot better now. So you can see above it, but I'll still mark roughly from about, yeah, you can see how the water level is not very high. So we'll just mark it as a minor belly. It's between 13 feet and 20 feet. Let's see if I can go ahead and run some water also with the video going, just to kind of watch it, kind of flush that out. But I am going to mark it right here, and then I'm going to run some water, and then we're going to mark it on the high side at about 13 feet. So I'm going to pause the video. Okay, that spot is marked.
We got some water running through here.
So there should be some water coming through. But I'm going to pull back to that 13-foot mark. See the water going through. Now I've added water, that's why. Probably about right around in here. So, I'm going to pause the video and go back out here and mark this. Alright, so the two spots are marked. It's still deeper on the bottom side, or on the downstream side than it is on the upstream side. Everything is, everything is escaping well. You can see I marked it here, but just a little spot that dropped, not a big, because you have the two sides where you just got one little spot in the middle. And so it will overtake it. Shouldn't cause any issues or anything, but it is marked. Just you may want to kind of pay attention to it, make sure you're not driving. One thing about having sewer lines so close to the surface is that they are, you don't want to be driving heavy equipment over the line. It can also push it down a little bit. And so this, again, should not cause any backups, especially with PVC. PVC is a lot smoother, and so because it is holding water, that's actually a good indication of the line not having any because it doesn't have any water in it, or it does have water in it, it means it's not leaking out, which is a good thing too. Sometimes when it leaks out, that's where the problems come in, because then it will dry out and the solids would just rest in that spot. So the fact that it's holding water, all it'll do is it'll fill up to the level that it needs to, and then overtake that low spot. It's like, again, it's very common to have these on the septic tanks because of how shallow the line is. A lot of times that virgin dirt, when they're putting it in, is a little bit softer and it settles a little bit. They do bed them with gravel and stuff, but it's pretty common to have. And like I said, it's not as drastic as like a trap on a sink or on a toilet, and so everything will make its way through this. It's something you might want to monitor it just to be sure that it doesn't get worse in the future. It shouldn't, but again, it's where I said watch, don't drive any heavy equipment over top of it, because it is about 10 inches to a foot deep, so it's very shallow. But the line itself looks good. All the connections and everything are made well. You just have a little low spot, about 5 feet of a low spot that's holding some water, but everything should overtake that very easily, and it shouldn't cause any issues. It's probably been there since the house was built. I'd say almost definitely been there since the house was built. So, but yeah, I'm just going to recommend you just monitor it in the future. But as of right now, it's not causing any obstruction to flow. It will be marked on the report just as as a note. But other than that, the line is fully functional at time of inspection. So that'll end the inspection at 15560 Moyer Road in Germantown, Ohio.